Hello, people of the internet and people here in the studios of Cologne, Germany, here at ESL TV. We're back for the third match of the evening here in the World Championship Series for the Premier League as we continue our search forward for the players that will represent their regions at the season finals. Joining me this time, we have Pig and Rotterdam. Next game, that was a fast one, that one, unfortunately, there for MaSa, but he's got to get on that stage, well, stay on that stage, should I say, and go straight into another match against our experienced MaNa here.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough, man. Like, losing a series is never nice. Losing your first series at your first big international event, that's never going to be nice. But the way that did, it just almost felt like absolutely nothing went his way. Well, it even felt like on Vani, despite his opening not really doing that much, you know, when the bench started to do some real serious work, you said, like, that's something you should be able to work with, right? Like, from now on, things should be able to go okay. And then if you still end up losing it, that's one thing, but it felt like it was never even a game. It's just like, well, here's a big army, here are Banelings, let's blow everything up, here are some Middle-East, and it was over. So it's going to be very hard for him to forget about that series. He's now going to go up against one of the absolute best Protoss players in Europe, that has been one of the best Protoss players in Europe for years. I don't know, I wouldn't want to trade shoes right now.
Well, there's a guy who's right next to us, and I hate bringing this up because off camera, every time he comes and punches me in the stomach for bringing this up, but last season, you know, your first match against Happy, in similar fashion, wasn't really close, it was difficult, your first big game up there, you lost 0-2, you had to go straight into the next match, I believe against Targa. How did you pick yourself up, and what can MaSa take from that?
I think it's very personal. Whenever each player gets in that position, it's very easy to let the fear of failure, the embarrassment, or just being upset at yourself to go to your head and to start making you play a little bit irrationally. And it's very important to continue to play your game, to play what you prepared, and to play confidently. So often what I find is best is for a player to try and reset their mind. For me personally, it usually means reminding myself that there's no point getting too caught up in what can I lose here, and to think about what can I win? What can you win? Get on that stage and try to show what you can take from your opponent. Try to mess them up. Don't worry about your own mistakes. Worry about making your opponent make mistakes.
And a bit of a different story from MaNa is after he lost his first game, Roddy, sat in the audience in here, chilled out, relaxed, watched that game, and was able to... You might have seen that on camera, I don't know if you did. MaNa fell on the stage. You definitely heard it, I'm sure of that. You know, it's a bit of a different story for MaNa. You know, sitting in the crowds, giving a bit of a thought to the next series, seeing that series unfold, realizing that he was, you know, for every minute that went by, more than likely going to play against MaSa.
Yeah, also, I mean, he did look a little bit annoyed in the start. Like, right after he sat down, you could obviously see, like, what's going through a player's mind, right? It's like, oh, why did I do this? That was so completely unnecessary. That wasn't a flawless series for him either, but I also think that MaNa is, like, he's been to so many tournaments already, that's a lot easier for him to shake it off. And that was not a series where you really have to go into deep thoughts, like, man, where did that go wrong? Like, it was pretty obvious where that went wrong. So, you know, he had some time to think about it, and I think it's a lot better for MaNa.
All right, well, the map veto process is currently happening, Roddy, so we'll get to having a look at that in a second. Pick. What did you see from MaNa that stood out as a strength or weakness from his first series of the day that we could see up again?
Weakness is that he was a little impatient, which doesn't really strike me as MaNa at all. Even though, like, even in the past, right, when MaNa had his really successful runs, his amazing tournament runs, it's very fun because you look at his games, you're like, obviously this guy's really good, but they're always very easy to pick out a few things where we're like, man, if he would fix that, he would be even better. And it's always kind of been like that. Like, he's never been super flawless, and he has been a little bit impatient in the past. But like in the first series of the day, there was just 2 times, you know, losing a few Colossus against a no Viking army like that. That's very uncharacteristic. That's not supposed to happen. And he's probably just like, all right, you know, if something goes well right now, I don't have to march across the map immediately and like, let's win this game right here, right now. Like, this is WCS, you can take your time. And I think he's going to be a lot more composed and definitely a lot more collective going into the next series.
Interesting to think as well is if MaNa was to lose here, so the first time that he didn't make the round of 16 since October 2013, that's a lot of consistency of continuing to get to the top 16 season finals. A big loss for him. I think the map vetoes are almost ready, so we'll be going into that next. If MaNa was to lose here, is that going to really hurt him, especially from a player that's been down low already this last few years, to get back down there again?
No, absolutely. I mean, you know that WCS is always going to be tough, and he also know he already dodged the bullet by even making it into the round of 32, but he defeated a very strong player in the name of Hero Marine. Then you look at this group, and if you compare it to some of his previous groups, you remember last season when he was in the group of death in the round of 32? I kind of forgot all the players that were in it, but I think Bunny was in that group as well. He's like, group of death, cool, let's bring it on, give it to me. And he actually won that group, like which he stated as well on Twitter. And then if you look at this group, like no group is ever going to be easy in WCS Premier League, but MaNa is supposed to make it out of this group if you go by track record.
All right, well, the 3 maps here, Coda, Vanny, and Cactus. Pig.
Some, the very standard, the new Coda LE, the map we're going to see in almost...
The new Overgrowth.
The new Overgrowth, exactly. The new Daybreak. This is the map we see all the time. Very standard. MaNa picking that tells us, he's quite comfortable there. And interestingly, some Protoss are a bit worried about the ability for a Terran player to push towards their third, pick up, boost into the main. But MaNa's shown very, very good Blinkstalker control, so I think he's very happy with that. And MaSa, interestingly, going for Varney again. Quite a good map for Terran drops, trying to get in to those bases in the back. It's a very long distance for Protoss to cover.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the first map here, the setting stage for these two players, Roddy. And I want to look at it from MaSa's perspective. He's the player that is coming to this with a bit of an uphill battle. What is the most important thing for him to keep in consideration when loading up in a match, when the loading screen is in front of him? What must he be thinking about when playing against MaNa here?
It's very difficult to say, to be honest, especially because Coda is such a straightforward map. It plays out in a way that, we've gone over this over and over again. Like Overgrowth, for instance, used to play out. It's very standard, it's very straight up. I think he just wants to be on point with everything. And above all, don't make unforced errors. MaNa is a great player and he's going to force you into mistakes. Whether you win or lose the series, like a player like MaNa will eventually make you overextend or make you lose a medevac because he's just good. It goes 2 players, they both try to make good moves. At some moment, you're going to make a few mistakes, but make sure that the only mistakes that are going to happen are mistakes that your opponent is forcing onto you. Don't be supply blocked, don't just not pay attention to your army, don't be on move command, stuff like that. I think just try to be very solid. Like Coda's first map is not surprising, but I'm a little bit surprised about Cactus Valley. Like I mentioned this before, and last time I was like, Cactus Valley is really difficult for Protoss, and then Lilbal just won. But like Kalazur played very weird that game, right? Like he had a solid start, he had a really good start, sniped the Muddies before, got a Stalker, and then he opened up with 5 wrecks before a factory. Like I think if that map just plays out, like I saw MaSa play on that map against Australia, and of course a lot of people will immediately say that MaNa is a lot better than Australia, but still, like MaSa looked so good on that map. So I'm curious to see that if things will go to map number 3, how it's gonna play out, because I think it's a very difficult map for Protoss.
This guy in love with the camera. Loves his faces towards there. MaSa, though, difficult position for this guy. Just suffered his 7th loss within the World Championship Series there against Firecake. An uphill battle. Do you think his lack of experience here, Roddy, is really hurting him against the very much so experienced MaNa?
I mean, that's definitely in MaNa's favor, but he's going to have to shake it off, right? Like, this is his one shot. The first series of the day, you can be nervous. If it goes wrong, well, you still have that lower bracket match, but that is right there right now. And I think what is going through his mind right now is that, like, okay, even if I lose this, at least I want to play well. I want to play a lot better than I did in my first series of the day.
Do you think one of the other things going on in his mind, being such a lesser experienced player, is like, God, this guy with the camera in my face? I mean, I don't know, you've been up there, I've never been up there, and I don't know what it's like to be sitting there, and then all of a sudden this guy comes up in your face, Pig. What is it like?
It's interesting. It takes a while to get used to, but I think before the game, you're getting ready. Usually you like to soak up that attention a bit.
This guy loves it, apparently. That's definitely one there to print screen and save.
I'm not sure if that counts as a death stare. It's a something stare.
I don't know what that was. That was a squeal from somebody.
Squeals from the audience.
MaSa's like this clown. Can we just get this started, all right?
If only MaSa knew what the hell was going on, Roddy. All right, it's time to begin the 3rd series of the day. It's elimination matches, all fun and giggles here on the analysis desk. It is time, unfortunately, to lose one of these players. They'll be going home if they don't win this match. Let's head to the casting team. It's going to be Cloris and Todd.
Thanks very much, guys. It's not quite hero versus hero, but we'll have to deal with MaNa versus MaSa. I can't wait for the engagements. This is going to be fantastic.
Is it?
I'll try and do my best.
It's going to be tough. It's going to take a lot of focus. But for these players as well here, this is elimination match. And MaNa, he had a little bit of disappointing games against Aigers, especially in the execution in some of them. But MaSa, man, after a match like this, how do you stay focused and play well?
It's tough. It is tough. It was a little bit. I think you described it as bop before. Bit difficult to
Not
really
on
deal
air.
with. Not on air. Sorry, I've outed you. I'm sorry, man. But MaSa, I think after one series, he's going to be coming into this furious. He wants to be able to take a victory, not go out in this kind of fashion. Although that being said, looking at my records, he hasn't won many games in Premier League thus far. Not series-wise, anyway. So we need to put some wins on the board, as we do have spawning up to the top left-hand corner. It is our red Terran representing Root Game. It is MaSa. Gaming.
Root for root.
Root for root. They always end up doubling up in these groups. There's 4 of them, and 2 of them, each pair, was in the same group. But anyway, spawning out of the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. With his funny, cheeky faces.
MaNa in game 1 versus Aegis, he used a build that's been more and more popular, especially with Korean Protosses versus Terran, where you do some DT opener, and then you go into Blink, Colossus, third base upgrades and all that. But the DT opener can be really good against Terrans going straight into factory, because it's going to be so hard to add on additional barracks and get turrets as well. And a lot of the time, they're not going to have the scan to deal with the DTs. The thing is, with that build, usually you drop some DTs in the main. Whereas MaNa, he only planted down 1 pylon in a really bad location, a very obvious one. It got found and cancelled, and then there was a turret ready, like it was a massive tail. And from there, it didn't do any damage. So he was already kind of far behind.
Yeah.
And then Aegis just kind of steamrolled with some great production. So here, up against a MaSa who, I mean, as much as he had a rough match, first match against Firecake here, he's still very good here with the macro and the drops and the attack. So MaNa is going to have to definitely play better than he did against Aegis here if he wants to win.
MaNa's game plans looked a little bit more, longer than I've seen him do in some of his PVTs in the past. Is there once again room for MaNa to do something more aggressive?
Yeah, look at this. Double gas. This time he goes for the second pylon before the core. But this second pylon very heavily suggests he wants to go for a Stargate, I think.
It's actually exactly the same building positions that we saw in his previous game on Coda.
Yeah, but I think last time he made the Cyber Core before the second pylon, which is like a faster version to get to the Stargate. And I guess he knows that most Terrans will scout, so I think it's probably better to do it the way he's doing it now.
That second SCV moving out towards the top, is he planting the factory in a proxy location here?
I think he's going to proxy a factory and probably a starport and do like a very, very quick drop, which would be funny if there is a Stargate here and like the units meet on the way.
Just fly straight over. It's like, oh, well, okay, then I guess that's not going to go so great.
No, I talked about it earlier. MaSa is a guy who sometimes will mix in these own kind of builds. He was the guy who on Ohana once, was doing this like kind of 1-1-1-ish builds where he kind of like pretended that he had a command center, but he never did. And here's the same thing. He probably knew that MaNa wasn't going to scout, and MaNa has scouted absolutely nothing this game. So he's going to have no idea. Usually, sometimes you fly with your mothership core up there on the top right-hand side, or you send a stalker, but mostly in PvP. Against Terran, you don't really do that.
Ooh.
And the Stargate is actually in the bottom right-hand side here in the main of MaNa, rather than
interesting.
top side.
Quite hidden. This has not been revealed just yet.
This is going to come in so fast. Oh my god, it's going to be like a 6 minutes Widow Mine drop, which is just incredibly fast.
And he finds that SCV down towards the bottom. So if he would take Nexus, obviously it will be revealed. That being said, MaSa already knows there isn't a Nexus there, so he has to assume there is some form of tech behind all of this. He would love to know what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, he can probably infer that it's actually the Stargate.
Yeah, I think having seen the 2 gases, you narrow it down to 2 first possible buildings, the Twilight or the Stargates, and then later on you try to scout here in a little bit more. But now, fully knowing that he's going to be dropping real soon, MaSa knows that he doesn't need to be scanning or anything. He doesn't have to be rushing a second base either. Like, this is definitely going to do a little bit of damage, even though there's going to be a photon overcharge. If that Widow Mine burrows before, then the Oracle's going to have to be the detecting unit. There is a chance like MaNa defends that really, really well. But he's going to have to react very, very quickly. Actually, the Oracle's going to move out of position here for some time.
Oh dear. Well, this is gonna hit quite hard. I mean, on either side, but also you say there were the Marines back at home here for MaSa to try and deal with the Oracle. If it's to come along, head straight on in there. It's the one Widow Mine protected by 2 of these Hellions, which will actually soak up some of the shots. The Widow Mine only gets itself 1 probe, and everything else is on back.
The Oracle's not flying back. I think he was going back for a second, but then now he's going for the main of MaSa. MaSa has a lot of Marines. If he reacts quickly and does a lot of damage to this Oracle, he's going to have this shut down very nicely.
Should be fine. We'll be able to push this away despite the activation there, and he actually slows down the command center.
Yeah, a Stalker found the factory. Is he going to get blown up, though? That's the question, because there is a Widow Mine that's going to come out in about 10 seconds here.
And MaNa react, or is he paying attention to this Widow Mine? Oh, all right. 2 extra workers for the cost
of...
the
Stalker on the factory. MaNa is to be the king.
Might die.
Goodbye.
Oh.
Well met.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry.
And with the 2 Hellions still in the Medivac, right now, MaNa cannot be mining on his natural. He has so many probes in the main, 31. Against the 24 SCVs of MaSa, who's now got a second command center. I like the Phoenix here.
Yep.
I really, really like it. At least making 1 or 2. We've seen Parting do that a lot. You can put them in patrol around your base.
Yeah, at least put a timer on these things. And also, obviously, deny, as you're trying to say. But, well, he's still not cleaned up this Widow Mine.
Wow, MaSa actually...
There we go.
He moved out from his main without a turret or Widow Mine there. I guess he knew that there's the Oracle across the map, so... Oh, the Widow Mine in the ramp with the Hellions. Oh, I guess now the Hellion in the natural.
Yeah, trying for the zone out.
The Widow Mine is going to detonate at the ramp for just 1 probe. But this has still been very annoying. The Observer now flying back, so MaNa is finally going to clean up.
An irritation, to say the least. Does get the extra Widow Mine as well. So what, he's killed probably about 8 or 9 workers throughout this? 8 in total.
Yeah. But lost 3 back at home, so in the end, it's 36 probes to 29 SCVs. Quite decent here for MaNa.
And the few Marines at the front, I don't think can do too much against these 3 Stalkers, as long as he kites back effectively. Where is the Mothership Core? Actually, the Oracle's going to come back. Focus fire onto it. It doesn't kill it. Oh, nicely done there. Whoop! Oh, that Stalker didn't have to come in. But, so, minor slip-ups on either side.
Yeah, really nice micro by MaNa, generally speaking.
Oh, hunting! Oh, nicely done there by MaSa. Well done to be able to get that. And obviously boosted medevacs to make that a lot more easier.
MaSa is like, this has been not your typical Terran versus Protoss here with the proxy versus the Stargates. MaNa is now starting Blink. He hasn't started the Colossus, I guess. Having killed as many units as he just did, he feels comfortable enough to kind of delay that for now. And we are seeing some gateways being added on with the Forge here as well. I like MaNa's position. Like saturation-wise, 46 against 39 already.
And still Widow Mines continue production up to the top right, which...
Big supply block for MaSa. Look at this, 70 out of 70.
He's about to get out of it, but you're right. He could have been producing a little bit more there. As the Phoenix tries to negate these medevacs from doing too much, and there are Widow Mines still present and being produced, so the Stalkers are in spot to make sure in the main base that isn't going to continue to pose a threat.
Oh, MaSa, I really like this. He's going to move into the natural with a lot of Marines and Medivacs here, and he's going to drop Widow Mines in the main at the same time. There is an Observer in position, but the Stalkers are going around the natural. There's no defense in the main.
No Colossus here just yet. There's them photon overcharge into the natural, but the main base here with those Widow Mines about to burrow. Oh, picks up one to try and make sure he's not going to lose too much. 3 probes end up going down. Has he been able to shoot this off at the front? I think he should be okay.
Oh, that was close. Just 3 probes. I thought it was going to be more like, 6.
Yeah, it was a good pickup with the Phoenix. Really good decision-making, I feel, to get that, because that could have killed off maybe a few more.
I'd really like to see a second starport here from MaSa. He knows that he's Colossus with Blink. Even if your opponent doesn't commit to Colossus, then you can cut Viking production when you realize. But he's going to stay on just 1-4 now. We still don't have... a 3rd command center. I expect it to start momentarily here, though. He's sending SCV to the 3rd base location, and still supply blocked for MaSa. He's getting 2 depot at the same time, but so many supply block.
A slight supply block on the side of MaNa as well. Doesn't quite have the room to open up the taps on those gateways, so these 2 pylons will alleviate that nice and quickly. As he sees plenty of Stalkers in there. MaSa doesn't want to be dropping in anytime soon. Likewise, MaNa can see MaSa outside of his main base. So...
I can't believe that Phoenix is still alive. He's been such a nuisance. Still patrolling on the right-hand side here.
Yeah. It's like 1 kill is actually quite a deceptive number, because he's done quite a bit of work for himself. Picking up the Widow Mine, trying to shoo away the medevacs.
Especially, I think, spotting the medevacs every time and starting to shoot them before they can even get close to dropping. It's like... go back, go back. Every time he shoots, he says, go back, go back. And it's been pretty hard for MaSa to drop in. Look at this, still spotting the potential draw, but now MaSa has about 5 medivacs on the map with units around him, so he's gonna basically apply pressure on the third base to try and get a cancel, and basically threaten to drop into the main. It's gonna be really hard for MaNa to defend well against this, but he's not too badly positioned. The third base though.
Yeah, it's actually being assaulted here. If he's actually going to boost in and try and drop behind these and come in from both angles, because he sees there's not many units here to actually negate this. If he can get 3 Colossi without the gateway, all the Stalker units were waiting in the main base to try and stop this drop from coming in, but he gets a brilliant pickup on those Colossi, and MaNa is going to crumble under the pressure. This third base is absolutely toast.
MaNa's real name is Maru, actually, and I think we just know why now, because that was pretty insane here.
Great stuff, really good decision making, quick thinking as well, drawing those units out of position. Oh, nice snipe out of one of those medevacs that did have quite a few units in it, so MaNa gets a consolation prize off of MaSa here as he retreats down.
Yeah, but the second starport is now up. Wasn't really added onto a reactor here, sadly, so he's only getting 3 Vikings at a time. Actually, you're having to remake some medivacs here. And now Armory's secondary base gonna start here for MaSa. MaNa is he's only completing +1 now. For the attack, he got the ground armor level 1 earlier. He's remaking an Oracle. But not sure why.
If you're MaNa in this position, you've only got you're working off 1 forge and you had your third base denied.
Yeah.
Surely this feels horrible for MaNa being constricted like this.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's remaking actually the Oracle. Why is he getting a second Robo?
Not sure. I guess double Colossus production in preparation.
Yeah, I think he's making the Oracle because his observers are getting sniped, and he doesn't want the same thing with the medivac drop to happen the same as earlier, so he wants to use Revelation. But look at this, I don't think MaSa cares. He's going to attack into this.
Yeah, there's only 2 Colossi there. One of them gets almost focused down by the Marauders at the front, but they had to walk into Zealot, a wall of Zealots to try and do that, and they didn't even get the Colossus. There's one Marine at the back. Actually, he might be able to get that Colossus. Actually, never mind. Yeah.
Wow. One by one, they went in.
Oh dear me, that was funny.
None of them successful.
If he'd have kept chasing on against that and that would have actually managed to get something, that would have been hilarious.
Wow, look at this. MaNa's going into immortal production out of 2 Robo here. Interesting. I think he knows that MaSa at this point is probably on 2 starports and gonna be messing Vikings, so I think he anticipates that and he's like, well, I'm just gonna get a ton of Archons on the ground, charge lots, possibly go into a High Templars as well momentarily.
This is a bizarre game, Todd, but...
Yeah, an Oracle at the 17th minute in a third base sniping SCVs. What's happening here?
I'm sure this will stabilize in a little bit. He can't sacrifice these Widow Mines at the front so easily. 2-2 is on the way. He's letting some of the Stalkers die at the front. Doesn't want to do that too quickly. As MaSa now has to retreat on back as MaNa's force field does try and cut him up. And that was a well-placed initial force field to say to MaSa that you have to back off.
Yeah. The Oracle actually was left on the right-hand side here for a second. Ideally, I think he's going to just leave that back at home up until he has when he has a Revelation to use on that Observer. How long is he going to stay in the game, man? Probably not so long. If MaSa wants to be aggressive, he needs to get rid of those. You can't let the Protoss see where you go. The amount of medivacs, man, he really is playing like Maru right now.
Oh, really well done. I think that was more just well, I guess you have an observer above
the
me.
Colossus are around the third base. MaNa need to come back quickly.
Drops everything into the main base here. Does MaSa? MaNa has going to have a bit of a hard time actually getting a good position against this. His Nexus is almost certainly going to fall. So a nice pickup for MaSa there. The Colossi from MaNa trying to do some damage to the left-hand side of this bio. Actually, it was moving into that Zealot wall, so maybe he lost a few more units. But we're in a similar situation again. He lost quite a bit of his army there. But no, I don't think it's enough for MaNa to go on the full counterattack. How many Vikings does MaSa have at the moment? Only 2 against the 3, so it's up for the flanks again.
But the thing is, oh wow, that Phoenix actually is still chasing on the medivacs. I can't believe that. He turned around here just now. The thing is, if MaNa moves out and goes for the attack, then MaSa drops in MaNa's main, snipes all the Nexuses, and then lifts his building, at least gets a draw. Most of the time he's going to eliminate him.
Yeah, because he didn't lose everything in a similar way to Aegis before. He still has a lot of this intact. So that was a brilliant move there by MaSa.
But at the same time, though, MaNa preserved most of his army count alive, so if he's able to finally take a fight or just stay alive in general, eventually it's going to happen. He's going to be able to do well. Against Aegis, the one game on Vani where he was very close to maxing out and had a big army, he did a fantastic job. But back then, he had a good mix of High Templars to Colossus. This time, He's going to play without High Templars, but I think he has enough in terms of Colossi against not that many Vikings.
Spreads his bio out here, does MaSa to try and create this. All that movement, though, cost him a few of those bio units at the very front to MaNa's Colossi. And MaNa, for now, just going to back off. The thing is that his stalker position is always around the natural.
The Oracle is actually being rallied into that third base for the Terran.
Does he have a missile turret? Okay, how much?
I see,
okay,
he's too good for that. And big drop getting set up here for the main base. There's a lot of stalkers nearby, and I think MaSa wants to attack the third base at the same time to try and get a snipe on the Nexus. But there is a Zealot on the left-hand side ready to spot. But he's out of position with the Colossus. Oh my god.
If the stim happened, I think he's a little bit too apprehensive about going. That might have got very, very close to death.
Terran players all across the world almost got a heart attack here.
Likewise me, I had to breathe a sigh of relief here for MaSa alone. Plus 3 weapons on the way for him now. 3.
Oh wow, the ship gone. What?
Oh, what the? What? Well, I guess you throw down that time warp, why not?
True, and last YOLO time warp.
Yeah.
And MaNa is going to go for the engagement. He's maxed out, he's warping in Stalker, she wants to fight. This time he's at least going to move across the map and finally go for it, I think.
135 armor supply against 130, so quite even indeed. But he set himself up in a nice concave here, has MaSa. Likewise, MaNa's Colossi weren't doing too much to the left-hand side of this bioflank as the Zealots are charging on forwards, but he doesn't have much to deal with the Colossi at all here at the moment, does MaSa.
MaSa cannot be fighting. Ideally, he should have had some units on the right-hand side, and then when he realized that MaNa was moving out, just counter drop. Right now he's trying to fight against this many Colossi without Vikings. It's just not going to go well for him.
Oh, SCV is coming from every direction here from MaSa as MaNa is just putting on the pressure at this fourth location. MaSa's going to lose a huge amount of his SCVs, but it's a desperate last-ditch attempt to try and keep everything alive in his base. MaNa was able to micro back one of his Colossi, but there you go. GG for MaNa. Game number 1 goes to him, and you have no idea how much I was focusing during that cast on.
Focus level over 9,000.
Over 9,000. That was interesting. But now, for getting back to this situation at hand, MaSa is in a rough spot because he looks good throughout that game, I feel. You know, he was making these plays happen, he was trying to get the damage done. Couldn't kind of round it out in the very end though, unfortunately.
Yeah, the defense of MaNa was good enough, and in the end, you know, sniping a Nexus is nice, but unless you have your own fourth base on the way, like you're completely out-macroing or out-taking your opponent, out-upgrading or anything like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Like MaNa knew that he could just still sit back, and he had a lot of supply to be able to defend, and then from there, all he had to do was really max out and finally take a good fight just right outside of his base. It happened. MaSa had to take the fight too. That's the beauty of it. MaNa knew that. MaNa knew that if he got a big engagement next to around his third base or the middle of the map, you can't really run as Terran because otherwise the Protoss blink into you and snipe your stuff. So what's up, Apollo?
Oh, he's looking forward to Toronto.
Well, I think he's cheering for MaSa, but
that too.
It's not done wonders for him so far. Maybe it's all been explained here with the Apollo curse.
Oh, maybe. Well, thanks for that, Todd. All right, so we're going to go to a short break here. MaSa does not look so happy. Let's see if he can pull it back after the break for Game 2 between MaNa and MaSa. welcome back to the World Championship Series here for game number 2 between MaNa and MaSa as we continue our path all the way through here, this little tongue twister, but so far hasn't caught us out just yet, Todd.
Many Terrans have tried to play like Maru.
Yes?
None have succeeded yet.
Not too much, no.
Because it's obviously very hard to play as well as him, but at least, you know, being able to execute some of these drops well sometimes going to be enough to win against a Colossus-based Protoss.
Yeah. When
you don't necessarily have that many Vikings, but in the previous game, after doing the initial drop and sniping all the Colossi of MaNa, he was missing some execution here, MaSa.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. Game number 2 now, as we have spawning up to the north. It is our Root Gaming Terran. It is MaSa. Wants to represent Canada in Canada, but at the moment, he's up against it. As we have spawning down to the south, his opponent, representing Team Liquid in the blue, it is MaNa.
MaNa is a big fan of those targets, man. More and more. Yep. Before it used to be, you know, the proxy's target with second pylon, but looks like right now he prefers to just make that back at home in his base and just, you know, play it a little bit more standard. With an Oracle first, then into Robo and Colossus, all that. Yeah, in the previous game, really, like I thought that after that first big drop on top of the Colossus, where he sniped them all, I think from there, if you just play solid and well as MaSa, you just win, but he just wasn't really able to make it happen ever.
And once again, MaNa is going to go for this interesting little wall-off that he did in the previous game against Iagers with the gateway. Here, I'm creating a full wall-off to eventually make a huge area in the back where either Reapers could get dumbfounded or the probes can just run back and be totally happy.
Yeah, it's a pretty good thing to do, but later on when your gateway gets sniped, though, like it happened against Iagers,
yeah, that was really
as pleasant. Rubbish, huh?
I'm a little too harsh.
He's gonna break one of the fundamental rules of Protoss versus Terran and Scout early on here.
Whoa.
And he's gonna see that there's no gas out of MaSa, so very, very comfortable position here for MaNa already, fully knowing that there's not gonna be any Widow Mines or Reapers early on. He can play pretty greedy himself, maybe going to a very quick third, something like that.
Yeah, comes at the sacrifice of being locked in, so he's gonna have to ask from MaSa for the keys and probably won't give him them.
Maybe go full Haz and gold base first. With a late Dark Shrine to make you lose it once again.
Yeah, maybe. I said hi to Haz upstairs. I'm not sure.
Have you seen Haz yet?
Yes, just before. I said hi to him before. I'm not sure he even knows who I am. He might do. But me and him, we have a coloured history that might come along and rear its head tomorrow. We'll see.
Second gas here for MaNa, by the way. Fully knowing that he's not up against a gas, I wonder what's his plan. The Stargate again?
Maybe.
If there is no Widow Mine and you go for an Oracle, I mean, if you control it well, you can always do some damage. And there's never going to be that scenario where you fly an Oracle into a Widow Mine, which is the worst feeling in the world by far.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. He's just going to take his Nexus behind all this. Command Center's going to go down for MaSa on the other side. Triple Command Center, actually, is the opener from him over here. So, greedy, but he should be able to get away with it, actually, considering the opposing build.
Oh, do not speak too fast.
Okay.
It really depends on what MaNa goes for. I think if you went for Blink and MaSa expects a Stargate, okay, no, never mind. It's just going to be a Stargate. Still, anyway. It feels like MaNa has practiced a lot with Stargate, and it's just like his main go-to build against Terran. And that's why he's playing it so much. One mothership against 5 Marines. Fight! How does he not have a Stalker?
Don't know.
Does he have one? Yeah, he wanted to go for a quick Stargate, so I guess he delayed his Stalker a lot.
Yeah.
This is going to be really annoying. I can't believe actually MaSa is moving out with 4 Marines. He seems to have identified what this could have been.
Yeah, a full overcharge forced here for just 4 Marines alone.
And he gets 2 probes. Oh my god, and he sees the Stargate. This is great for MaSa here already.
Yeah, good opener. Just to be able to exploit how greedy MaNa's being.
Is there?
There's no what, sorry?
eBay. There is. Oh my god, like this is like the most perfect build order so far.
Yeah.
Here out of MaSa.
Ooh, Twilight Council follow-up. So, over to Blink again, perhaps, here, after these Oracles have done the business. And if he keeps them alive, they can be his high ground vision over on the other side if he wants to put on pressure.
Wow, same worker count too, like very close at least. And with the third orbital finishing, these murals are gonna bring in so many murals here for MaSa. If I was him, I'd just make 2 turrets per mineral line, you know, Zerg style with the 2 spores, and be done with that Oracle. Because against 1 turret, there's always going to be some room where you can like, fly in and snipe some units.
I mean, Roddy already brought up the Wing Commander before in our previous cast. And, well, if you're going with only 1 missile turret in each mineral line, Mr. Wing Commander himself would be able to get all those kills. But let's see if MaNa can do the same.
With Blink and 2 more gates behind this, I really wonder if MaNa maybe wants to go for like a quick third base and then, you know, maybe take the Colossus. There is some all-in possibilities with like lots of gateways and Blink Stalkers, but it's not really MaNa style, to be honest. I don't really see him do that, but no Robo just yet, so we'll see how this develops.
No full information just yet. This Oracle's actually going to get confirmation now of this third command
supply
center.
block. 44 to 44.
Ouchies. Ouchies.
Okay, yeah, quick third, this is what I thought.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, he knew that there was not going to be a quick. Oh wow, a bit sloppy here. But he knew there was not going to be a quick factory, and he wouldn't need detection, so he entirely skipped on the Robo, and he had an Oracle anyway. So this is great here out of MaNa. If he goes for, I think that old school build. Remember where you go for a very quick third, then you add on a lot more gateways, and then you get a lot of Blink Stalkers into charge, and then either High Templars or Colossus. You're going to be able to do really well against Terran if you don't take any damage from drops when they do finally hit.
How many SCVs has he actually killed so far here, Funker? Only the 1.
Yeah, not many.
So not really paying for itself. I mean,
But
yes, it's keeping the units back.
Yeah. The thing is, it's a massive deal to keep the Terran back at home. He's taking a third easily here behind this. He's warped in sentries that are building up on energy very nicely for not just the Guardian Shield, but some force fields as well. 4 more gates. He's gonna have so many units. I wonder if he's gonna be High Templars or Colossus. By the look of things, since there's still no Robo, I think pretty sure it's gonna be High Templars. As soon as Blink finishes, you basically go up to something like, you know, a dozen Stalkers, and then you go straight into charge loss. And with that 7 gate production and that 3 base economy, you just get a ton of charge loss. My god, that Oracle waited for his time, but did he finally hit his stride?
He found it. He found it, that's for sure. 3 extra gateways about to finish up now for MaNa in that fashion, as you were mentioning them before.
Wow.
Even extra gateways. Whoa. All right. It's a Blink Stalker extraordinaire, my friend.
Lots and lots of gateways here. There's some all-in possibility as well, but usually not with Blink Stalkers. The thing is, we've seen MaNa do this kind of Blink Stalker all-in where most other prototypes wouldn't do them. I have to think of that mass Blink Stalkers plus 3 Immortals that he did against Terrans for some time, which was very specific to him. He's the only Protoss I ever saw do that. So I think right now, he wants to do that. He's gonna warp in only Stalkers and go for a massive timing, but seeing that MaSa is attacking into him, supposedly this should play right into MaNa Sand, but look at the supply. 50 army supply for MaSa, 38 for MaNa. As much as, you know, Guardian Shield and Blink is nice.
Whoa, aggressively blinks into this, so he doesn't have it on cooldown. Guardian Shield's going to try and sort this out, but he takes quite a few losses. The extra force fields down to the bottom here for MaNa will cut off the rest of MaSa's forces, and he cleans all of this up in the end.
And I don't know if MaSa right now is reading into this too much. You see he's still out on the map. He's going to start pulling back. He actually steams away. I think he's starting to realize what may be happening here, and more sentries were warped in. If MaNa only warps in Stalkers here, and just blinks back non-stop. Yeah, MaSa knows, but he's still in so much trouble.
It's funny because I lost my key to get into the building this morning, and MaNa actually let me in the building, and I asked him, how are you doing? And he's like, my Blink Stalker control isn't that great today, so I need to go back and practice that. And now I think I know why he really wanted to practice that. Force Field's going to cut off quite a few of these units here. As the SCV's to the left-hand side here for MaSa trying to get the wrap around, because he knows he's in a little bit of trouble against this kind of force. If with good Blink control, he can control this very well. Yeah. 16 Stalkers at the moment. A few of those only just got warped in, but they moved towards the front here.
It's actually not that good as Blink Stalker control, I have to say. He could have definitely blinked back better, preserved the good Blink Stalker counts.
Yeah.
And behind this, I mean, he's warping in Stalkers like what, 11 by 11? I think he has an insane amount of gateways. I think he has more than 8. I thought he had more than that.
Maybe he didn't morph them into warp gates, but for now he's going to have to back off from that location. He doesn't have any more force fields to keep back the marauder numbers that have been able to ravage that frontal position.
He's supposed to be on 9 gates, but he forgot to morph one. So Robo's going to go down. Double Robo even at that.
His economy wasn't looking healthy at the third base, actually.
Yeah, he never really saturated it. He really wanted to go for that mass blink stalker timing, but MaSa just held comfortably here, and now he's getting Widow Mines. He's still getting, you know, his good chunk of bio, some medivacs as well.
That SCV. Oh, never mind. Well, he almost did his job.
Oh, the stalkers engaging into the army. They got a blink back. This attack is so scary, actually, especially since there is no, you know, charge loss on the... It's 15 stalkers to 19 marauders and 12 marines.
80 army supply against 36. MaNa has to buy massive amounts of time to
It's
make
time
sure
for that Dark Shrine, man.
Oh, yeah.
That has Dark Shrine.
just
on
go for it.
Vanny too, just like old times.
I was going to say, you said before, does he have an eBay? And it reminded me exactly of that game, but... well, we'll try and push on against this. And as I said before, he doesn't really have that much army supply here, does MaNa. He's going to hold on with that. And actually, he killed off the Robo Facility. Thankfully, he got two.
Yeah, but I mean, the Nexus.
Okay, back up.
With this amount of Widow Mines, you can't engage into the 10 army.
No. Oh, likewise, the Zealots don't really want to go up there either. And this Nexus is going to fall. Very, very difficult to hold on without any AoE damage. And the probes even have to get pulled off the line there briefly. But blinks back the whole chunk of those Stalkers. He needs to be extra efficient. And blinking them all back at the same time is not the way he's going to do it. Separates the probes forward to actually soak up some of these Widow Mine shots. Because he has to win this engagement somehow, convincingly, and push it all the way back. Blinks forward, kills himself off a medevac.
Yeah, not going to matter. I mean, no third base. I don't think the counter-attack can kill MaSa here. All he has to do is kite and keep on healing with the medivacs.
Can he do much more? Can he do much more?
14 probes were killed in the midst of all this. 8 SCVs were killed by the counters. Actually, quite a few SCVs are pretty low here, but I mean, with the economy that he has now, MaNa, 52 probes to 59 SCVs, it's going to be almost impossible to hold the next attack without any kind of AoE. He doesn't even have charge. No charge, man.
No charge.
Without charge here, there's just no way. He'd need like a ton of Zealots and charge to even have a chance. And I mean, he's still facing Widow Mines. Immortals sound nice, but how much can they really do? Oh no, you shouldn't do that, actually. When you're such low eco and this far behind an army, you shouldn't try to counter with Zealots. Especially if the tenant's sitting back at home and ready to execute these units.
Widow Mines make the greatest noise when they end up burrowing. Lovely little things, beepity boop. And these Stalkers to the left-hand side now, looking to try and intercept or even flank or anything. I mean, he needs something. He needs something to get himself back into this.
Yeah. MaSa's just going to go for the kill. Almost, well, 1 second ago, it was almost double the army supply. He's warping in more Zealots. And I really don't see how MaNa can stay in this game much longer. Like, there's just so much bio.
Yeah.
I don't even think that MaSa has to wait for 2-2.
Oh, doesn't want to walk too far forwards at all. And there's so much gas in the bank here for MaNa. He really wants to be able to spend it somehow, some way.
Where was the Dark Shrine, MaNa, man?
Where's the Dark Shrine?
How do you not know how to steal this kind of game?
I don't know. I don't know. Must have played a lot of games of StarCraft by now. But for now, phone overcharge.
Oh, some force fields.
What?
Ah, a bit late.
Yeah. Difficult. They weren't exactly in range, I guess.
Double immortal production here out of MaNa, but yeah, 2-2 completed now.
What is
the
it?
Ghost Academy. MaSa's already massed out.
What are the upgrades at for MaNa at the moment? None.
Yeah.
Okay.
0-0 against 2-2.
This is not a good position to be in. Let's be
You need Colossus, Storm, and DT to win
yeah.
this.
You need quite a bit. All right, so MaNa's going to try and hold on still. MaSa can easily take this game as long as he keeps himself cool and collected.
Yeah, I mean, the drop in the natural is going to do it, even if he doesn't kill him here at the third, which still should. What's up, Nexus?
An easy peasy Nexus for him there. These Immortals trying to hold on at the front. But with no Zealots to tank against this bio alone, and all of this in the main base as well, MaNa is in two minds about these decisions, and unfortunately he can't do a thing. GG, MaSa takes his first game of the day.
Easy Katka on Vanny.
Easy Khadgar. Indeed.
Pulled it off perfectly, man. Yeah, I really like the defense actually against the Blink. Like this Blink Stalker all-in can be really, really strong, especially if you don't expect it. But somehow, just by seeing the amount of Stalkers on the map, is like, well, usually Protosses, they're pretty scared of being dropped and they stay back at home. What else would you be out on the map other than if you were about to attack me? And he says, well, I'm just going to get a bunch of bunkers. I'm going to be ready with the defense back at home. Defense well enough. MaNa, even though he let you into the building today, which was a great story, by the way, his Blink Stalker control not good enough, as he said.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I've told some rather obscure stories in the past couple of days, I must admit.
I was like, where is this going?
I did this with Rotterdam yesterday, exactly the same thing. I said, I know that you're a big fan of Aladdin when we were casting a laser from small things that happened. Yeah, and he's a diamond in the rough. So, and obviously we will see him more in Premiere coming up. But anyway.
Keep going. This is great.
Thanks. Inside jokes. Anyway, Cactus Valley will be our next map here between the two, tied up 1-1 at the moment. So it's good to see that MaSa is actually fighting back here, not only for Canada, but trying to keep his hopes alive, going home, I guess. Of course, Canada's kind of a big place. So I don't know if he's actually from Toronto, but obviously he would love to represent in his home country. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, he lost the 3 first maps that he played today. He's finally been his first win here. Definitely should continue, you know, on that course here with playing a lot better. He definitely played a lot better in the last game than he did in the first 3 maps. You know, was pretty solid. I have to say though that build order helped him more than just a little bit.
Yeah.
3 CCs against an Oracle that didn't do that much damage at first. Like, even though at some point the Oracle started to finally get some kills on the SCVs, I think got like 5.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting them in the first place, that was the biggest of deals, because MaSa already had his economy.
Yeah.
Imagine if he had killed the SCVs before the 3rd CC started. He would have been delayed. Maybe MaSa wouldn't even have gone for that. So in the end, good build order and a nice win in the second game for MaSa, but now in Cactus Valley, he's going to have to do maybe better, or I guess as well as he did in the previous game. Maybe a CC first.
Definitely. Let's get into it. Game number 3 here in MaSa versus MaNa, as we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner is our red Terran representing Root Gaming. It is MaSa. Down to the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa.
If MaNa and MaSa were an Archon, what would be their name?
NASA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
or Mama NASA.
Mama NASA. Brilliant, I love it.
Wow, you're good at this.
Yeah. I just ignored the Maz. There was no way I was going there. Anyway, so of course, if you're not already, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out StarCraft at all of the following links, of course, over at YouTube/StarCraft, Facebook/StarCraft, and Twitter.com/StarCraft. As StarCraft, it's a beautiful game, my friend. It's a beautiful game. It's majestic to watch. And all these pros are pretty good at it, let's be honest. Pretty good. Definitely.
MaSa not going for a CC first here. I'm almost disappointed. He's a 4-player map, come on.
Almost.
But by the look of things, he's probably going to want to open similarly to previous game with just, you know, a barracks and gasless expansion. Whereas MaNa here on the 4-player map, what does he do? Not something too greedy here. Did go for the gateway and gas. Going to go for the standard second pylon in the main. At least no very quick second gas, so no shenanigans, like a very, very quick Stargate, like we've seen him do from time to time.
All right, so we haven't seen much of Cactus Valley. A few times, it's been sprinkled in. Certainly more than Infernal Pools, that's for damn sure, here in the round of 32 at the moment. But how do you feel on a map like this, as the Protoss specifically, considering you're quite the Protoss expert?
Defending between the 3rd and main against Terran can be really tough.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know, the distance, the way, you know, the map overlays between, you know, there's that space between the natural main and 3rd. Against, you know, Ignite Afterburners can be pretty tough against a really good Terran. But MaNa he's definitely much better than me against those drops and defending against them. So definitely going to be able to do better than me, basically. And as he did earlier in the first game in particular. Nice eBay block, but didn't really construct that for a long time, so it's going to be a very quick cancel here out of MaNa.
2 probe bros down here. We'll be able to finish that off along with the Zealot.
3rd CC again or not?
I think yes. I think
yes. No racks yet.
Yeah.
Yet. You look at this.
Yeah.
No extra racks.
I think
it's going to make it in the corner of his base too.
Yeah, considering how well it worked out in that previous game, I think he could get away with this in Cactus Valley. Wow.
If I play a Terran in the best of 3 and I lose twice to quick 3 CC, man, I'd be a sad panda.
Yeah.
This is actually so risky to do something like that. But if you play a Protoss that doesn't cheese much, like on 1 or 2 base, I mean, you have a very high chance of success.
Okay.
MaNa scouts the front, and he saw that the bunker and the 3 Marines, but I mean, it doesn't really tell him anything. There could be, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 racks being totaled in the main of MaSa right now. Okay, maybe not 5, maybe a bit too early, but I mean, you get what I mean.
I get your gist.
Not necessarily 3 CCs, and in this case, it is 3 command center men.
Ooh. Starport behind all of this, or Stargate, I should say, here for MaNa. As he's going to look to try and down in there and do a bit more damage once again with Oracles. Was it the first game that MaNa was using the Phoenix before against Aigers, was it? I can't remember who it was really actually going for the Phoenix before, but regardless, it must have been MaNa. But regardless, it did a lot of work, right? It was able to help out quite a lot later on in the stages of these games. So do you think that something like that can come along again?
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, I think MaNa mostly goes for Stargate to go for an Oracle first, and then later on adds a Phoenix, because it's good, to defend against Medivacs and get some vision. And on this map, it's actually going to be great, because the space around the bases is a lot of space where you can't actually drop.
Yeah.
So say, for example, MaNa on the top right-hand side of his main, if you put a Phoenix in patrol here above those cactuses, you can't drop there and snipe it, so that'd be nice. But right now, it feels like MaSa is definitely ready, or at least getting ready to receive the Oracle in his on his grounds, so to speak, because he has the turret in the main and he has quite a few units around the natural.
So while this game gets going along, do you reckon the map maker of this map even put the cactuses down, or the cacti down, and then called it Cactus Valley, or went in at the very beginning thinking he was going to put down Cactus, having already called it Cactus Valley before?
I don't know.
I mean, these are the things that run through my mind, Todd.
Yeah.
These philosophical questions that we
MaNa's going to spot the third CC here, and he sees that it's a late factory that is delaying even more. So, fully knowing that Medivacs are going to be late, I think he can either go into a big aggression with a lot of gateways, since he has no robo, or rush the third base again. I think either of those options here are very valuable.
Wolverine actually tries to go ham down here towards this Nexus.
Oh no, he does have a robo. No, he does have. Okay, robo base going down and 2 forges.
Yeah.
Oh, so actually, he's gonna play an upgrade heavy style. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be with the third base. And MaNa's job is gonna be, just to be a little bit annoying with the Oracle. Maybe try to delay that third base from being taken. Keep MaSa back at home.
Yeah, already keep an eye on that down towards the bottom. It's cool. It's good. Blink is on the way here as well for
That
MaNa.
unit's lost tab looks like a game of Liquid Hero. The man who once did a perfect on Shattered Temple at MLG.
Oh, geez, that's a long time ago, man. That's a long, long time ago. But yeah, I think those kinds of things can happen from time to time. He already sees the missile turret going down in that third base. He's like, well, I'm not having none of this Oracle shenanigans anymore. Gonna prepare myself nice and truly before I even land that base.
Looks like MaNa actually, I think he might want to take the third base on the left-hand side, but before that, of course, gonna start at least 1 Colossus, add on 2 more gateways. I think it's okay against 3 command center to start the third Nexus before you add on more gates than just the 3 initial ones, but he can't wait too long. Like, making probes right now shouldn't be the priority. He already has enough probes, I think, to, start not just the Nexus, but additional gates as well, because MaSa, as soon as he has Medivacs, he's going to start moving out and putting on pressure. Very quick second starport, actually. He didn't wait very, very long before adding on this one. So maybe MaSa here with some plans on this time, getting some Vikings and not playing with just full Medivacs trying to copy Maru.
Yeah, that's very, very important here, especially against MaNa. I mean, we've seen him go from the 4 to 5 to 6 very, very quickly in Colossi numbers. And I think almost every single game MaNa's played at the moment, our Terrans, be it Aigers or be it MaSa in these games, haven't had enough Vikings every single time.
Yes. Actually, in that first game, he didn't swap the starport with a reactor for a very long time, the second one. So he was producing, Medivacs 3x3, never really made Vikings. This time, look at this.
Is there no
look at this, and he's supply blocked.
Is there no armory and second engineering bay either here?
Yeah, not yet.
So,
I mean, he can still add that, but yeah, there is a chance he might just go for like a massive attack with a lot of Vikings. You see, adding on even more. Well, 1 more barrack right now in the main MaSa.
Pico caught in a bit of an odd spot. Sorry, Stalkers, you failed. Yeah, well, and now they're going to go the other way. Okay, so starts his +1 armor as well here. And obviously, like, doesn't necessarily need a second engineering bay or armory until these, like, are really finished.
Quite a few supply blocks from both players. Look at this. They're always so close, like 112 out of 113 before 3 depots finish.
How many Vikings do we have out at the moment? There's
Wow.
Colossus at the very front. He's abandoning this whole base. Only 4 Vikings at the moment against these 2 Colossi.
One medevac's gonna drop across the map, and the mothership core is actually around the natural, so this could do some damage.
Oracle didn't do his job. I don't think it exactly spotted that medevac as it was flying in. So this could really catch him off guard here.
Yeah. I think probes are gonna start dying very quickly, and then behind this, we have so many Vikings in production. I really think no second eBay, no armory. It's gonna be most likely an SCV pull, but even if he doesn't pull SCV, this is gonna be
got the
deadly.
ship core as well.
Wow.
Nice pickup with these Marines by MaSa, and also deflecting the frontal attack.
Is he gonna pull the boys? Well, I guess they're already sort of pulled actually around the 3rd base because they weren't even mining.
Pulled back, yeah, great stuff. So how many Vikings
They
does he
were
have
forced
now?
into the fights
They've got to do what they need to
before they
do.
were old enough to, Kyle Harris.
Aww,
This is the rules of war.
that's really sad, that.
Charge starts right now, so if this timing hits soon and hits before charge, or there is any kind of Archons, I don't think, I mean, Storm is out of the question. I'm pretty sure that MaSa is going to hit before that, but right
Yeah.
now, he's taking his sweet time.
Surely this lines up for an SCV, but I mean...
He has 11 Vikings and he's getting 3 more before he finally goes for the attack. In the first game, he didn't make enough Vikings. In this one, I'm really afraid he makes too many.
Maybe.
That'd be really sad.
Yeah, that would be. It's 12 against 3 at the moment, so easy peasy for those Vikings to do what they need to do. And then I guess once you've done your job, you just land and go ham on any Stalkers that remain, or any army that remains in total.
Wow, more gates being added on for MaNa, but he took the gases on the 3rd base and he saturated that 3rd base a lot more than you should against a Terran that's not taking any more than he is right now.
Slightly
How
supply
many
block for his
Vikings is
MaSa.
he waiting for? He's got 14. He's
gotta
gonna have
go.
so little ground army compared to what he should.
Oh, here come the boys. I mean, after not seeing the timings of the engineering bay and the armory all the way before all of this,
Yeah.
it was kind of evident that this was going to end up occurring. Likewise with your second starport being in the particular timing it was. So now, I mean,
MaNa
this has
sees
been
this coming
revealed.
right now. He sees the SCVs here as well, right behind
Yeah.
the army
Templar
of MaSa.
Archive.
Is there any sentries to? No, there's not that many sentries to force field and buy time.
Uh-oh. Yeah, full energy technically, yes.
No photon of a charge.
1 force field, 2, sealing off this a little bit, but those Vikings are going to do the job that they need to very, very rapidly here, and then from that point on, they could either retreat...
Oh, there is some
actually-
force fields left.
Yeah, he's...
3 on that one sentry, but these are the last one. Behind this, MaSa is going to be able to enter that natural base and take the fight right there and then. The army supply, 74 for MaNa, 104 for MaSa.
Oh my god, everything in the main base of MaNa is being chrono boosted at the moment. He needs to get all of the gateways in production as quickly as possible. SCVs make it towards the front lines here. This is a lot of firepower we're seeing here from MaSa. This could be it for MaNa in the round of 32 if he's not careful. All his immortals are at the front. There's nothing to tank for them. This bio is going to absolutely shred up everything we're seeing here from MaNa. And Storm is nowhere near completion. That was probably going to be his one saving grace. But this is a terrible position for MaNa to be engaging into. The Vikings and bio alone here for MaSa are going to be able to rip this apart. And even before Storm is going to finish, the Templar Archives is going to end up falling if he wants to kill it off. And there you go. So MaSa here, with this attack, with this force, has been able to absolutely destroy MaNa. And unfortunately for MaNa, he doesn't have much left. He did actually kill off a few SCVs down in the back towards that 3rd base and cut off some of that supply extra.
Yeah,
But
I
that's been
think
cleaned up.
MaNa was hoping that MaSa was going to attack the 3rd base, in which case he might have been able to complete the storm, but not cancelling that, not adding on Archons. I think he had, like, the only way he could have held this is if he whopped in a ton of sentries and kept on force fielding and buy time. Because right now, he definitely wasn't ready to take the fight yet. But then if he had done that, he would have spent all of his guys into sentries rather than Archons. But I mean, it'd still be better than now. MaNa has a lot of zealots though on the ground. And remember, he's 2-2 against just 1-1. I think he can still do this. It's going to take a really, really good fight though for that to happen.
He's got a lot of zealots, but this bio still, likewise, if he's got no AoE damage, How is he going to be able to do this? At the moment, MaNa is staring down his worst result in Premier League for around 5 seasons or so. Ever since the start of 2014. He's got so much gas in the bank, but without a Templar Archives, no proper way of spending it.
I think I like the choice by MaSa to pull back, actually. Since there is no Nexus on the second base and he knew that MaNa was scared to be attacked. Look at what MaNa did. He whopped in a lot of units and now he doesn't have the minerals to start a Nexus. So you have a Theron on 3 orbital commands using some mules. Well, he's still using more scans than he should, I think. But behind this, the desperation Templar Archive, a very wise philosopher Theron called Cass once said, when behind, don't go Dark Shrine, actually, go for Storm because it's better. MaNa wants to respect that. I don't even think he's going to remake a Nexus. It's going to be just High Templars. Look at the guys he has. Imagine.
Yeah.
Why is he getting an Immortal, actually? He should definitely be getting Storm and some High Templars.
Surely he has to have Archons. Surely there's no time for Storm at all.
Yeah, he's going to morph in Archons and just try and take a good fight here on that choke.
Supply block, the one pylon match that just popped is actually very close to this army. Good force fields will steal him out for now, but how long can he continue on? I don't think
there's 3 force fields left, so he can go for 1 more set. But then he might have to take the fight. 2 more Archons are there. Wow, this is so close still, but I do think that MaSa's ahead and doesn't particularly have to attack into MaNa. He still doesn't have a Nexus.
Yeah. It's all do or die here for MaNa. Once again, in that supply block position, this is all the army he's going to actually have. The bio slowly moves forward. He realizes there's not much AoE damage there at all. And after seeing the Archons at the back, all he has to do is basically dance out of their range and he's going to be totally fine.
Yeah. If MaSa knew that there is no Storm on the way and no High Templars, I think he definitely wouldn't be playing that aggressive here. He kind of feels like he's under pressure right now. He needs to be careful.
He's getting snipes out though. He's getting another unit. An Immortal actually falls here for MaNa. And every one of these little trades, it's only costing a little bit of health on these units. Stims up, gets in there, gets back out, heals up with the medevacs.
MaNa has no means to counter-attacking though. Sending in some Zealots, in the middle lines right now definitely could be one of the things that could weaken the economy of MaSa. Look at his proxy factory too on the left-hand side. He's just landed that. It was there and he's sending in some mines by one by one.
Any reinforcements you can get here, MaSa. Perfect stuff. Keep the pressure on. Keep his opponent really, really down. A little bit of friendly fire there from one of the Widow Mines, but and actually going to have to blink on back there, trying to focus down one of the Widow Mines in the front.
There's no more Observer too.
His army's dwindling. His army is dwindling here. He is being choked out. He is being constricted. MaSa is not letting up at the moment.
Yeah, he has a Ghost Academy behind this. He's going to start his first Ghost. And MaSa, he's played this like a mastermind, man. Went for the very quick second starport, fully knowing that there was no way MaNa was going to fake it out. And he was surely going to go for a lot of Colossus, and then in the end, the SCV pull.
Stock falls just for the cost of a Marine or a Marauder or so. It's not that big a deal here for MaSa, who still has a little bit of economy behind all of this, and he's checking every other angle, making sure that MaNa has no lifeline.
Does he actually want to land that? Oh my god, with I think the Vikings in scanning every time, he keeps on sniping the Observers. There's just no way for MaNa to keep on fighting against those Widow Mines. You know what, would it be funny if he landed that and made siege tanks now?
That would be
that's a lockdown, Kylars.
Yeah, that is by far. MaNa still, somehow he got this Nexus up and running. He's controlling this choke point. That's the big thing about Cactus Valley. The way you have to control these chokes is really, really terrifying. And MaSa is setting himself up in that one crossroads that is brutal to deal with.
Yeah, 2 Ghosts on the way. Another Observer's out. It's time for the Vikings to act. But no, MaSa's too busy dropping in the main here with 3 Medivacs. He wants to pull MaNa out of position with some of his army, and I think he's going to be able to achieve just that.
Not easy for MaNa to really deal with both of these angles at the same time. There's plenty of Ghosts in the back as well. 3 have already popped out. There's going to be another 3 or 4 on the field very, very soon. Killing off pylons here and there.
There's not enough Stalkers to shut down these Medivacs too. He can just evacuate.
Yeah?
Peace. I'll be back.
Whoop. All right. Still, MaSa continues on. Still this stranglehold on MaNa.
Yeah.
Who has no way of escaping.
The Ghosts are about to disintegrate the Archons, and MaSa's just going to close it out.
He's got to find a miracle here to try and deal with this. The Zealots charge in. They're going to be completely useless for the most part. As the Archons, yeah, they get to the front, but GG, MaSa is able to take the victory. The comeback here, he is ecstatic with that one. And unfortunately for MaNa, as I said at the near the end of that game, for him, that's one of the worst results he's had in the Premier League for quite a few seasons now. He's looked very good throughout the past couple of seasons, but it's got to be a little bit of blow to MaNa, especially after in the previous season going through in first place in his group in the round of 32.
Yeah, with some very impressive games too. But MaSa, you know, he played this pretty well here.
Yeah.
That third command center, I can't wait to ladder. And every turn is going to be going third command center. I'm just going to 7-gate every game.
All right, well, that does it from us here, guys, at the caster's desk. We can hear from our Canadian. Moving on into the last match of the night. It's MaSa over with Sean.
Thank you very much, Caloris and Todd. MaSa, everybody. Must be I know it's not over yet, but it's must be a relief to have picked up that victory. And you really stepped up your game from the start of the day. I know it wasn't the best of maps or best of series you would have liked to have played, but you definitely upped your levels going forward to that one, right?
Yeah.
And how do you keep composure? You go up there, you take a nasty loss. How do you keep calm? I mean, it's not difficult to do.
To be honest, until the first loss that I had, I couldn't really get rid of that mind. But I just kept on trying to reset. Let's say the match is 0-0. So I just kept on telling myself, oh, this is 0-0. So
it's exactly what Pig said before, is the best way is to just reset and not think about it.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Only North American representative, only Canadian left in the round of 32. If you were, I know it's, again, pushing a little bit too far, you still got another game to play. How much would it mean to you to play live in the Toronto season finals?
I'm going home.
That's it? Okay.
That's where I belong.
Okay, thank you very much, MaSa. Pig, I'm so used to having you over here. Sorry, Roddy.
I got my Aussie accent ready. Don't worry, nobody wants to hear that. Let's talk a little bit about the games. I felt game number 1 on Coda. I really liked the way you were setting up for a drop, and then you realized, okay, he's ready for the drop, and you went for the Colossus instead. That must have felt like on that moment the game was kind of yours, right? Did you feel like that?
Yeah, and I was pretty sad when I lost that game because I knew I had the game. But it was just my macro that couldn't step up. And I think that's the reason why I lost. If I did macro a bit better, I would have crushed that game as well.
Maybe, and I also kind of felt maybe a few times in the start of engagement, you were running a little bit too much, not sure if you wanted to fight. Was it nerves, or was it just being indecisive, or?
Yeah, it's just being indecisive because I had almost 0 Vikings, right? That's why.
All right. Game number 2 and game number 3, you went for a very traditional build, a build that you don't see super often anymore. I personally still think it's scary, you open up with a quick command center and then you have another one. But obviously there's a reason why a lot of Terrans faded away from it. I guess it's quite vulnerable to certain Protoss 2-base all-ins. Talk to us about it. Why did you decide to go for the triple orbital build?
First of all, MaNa did a lot of Mothership Core expansion into Twilight, into Robo, which is... It sees the 3rd CC very late. It's the latest build to see that. That's why I went that. But both games, he went Oracles. So, which is not bad, but I was expecting him to go Twilight into Robo. That's why I went 3CC build.
Yeah, on the second map, he went up to 3 bases quite quickly, but he still went very aggressive well. He went across the map with a lot of Blink Stalkers. Were you surprised by that? Because you were moving out as well.
Yeah, of course I was surprised. But I guess he wasn't getting upgrades, so even +1 Marauder against a Stalker did a lot of damage. I think that's how I won the fight there.
And on the final map, Cactus Valley, what was the moment where you decided, all right, I'm going to go for an SCP pool here, and I think it's going to work? When was that?
He was taking 3rd pretty late, and I knew he was going for 2-2 build, the double forge. I hit a bit late because he was attacking me. And I got confused a bit, but yeah.
In the end, you can't go wrong with pulling the boys? All right, well,
as long as it hits before 2-2.
Okay, very well done, congratulations.
MaSa, you've got the next match, the decider match coming up. If you could pick your opponent, who would it be and why?
I would say FireK.
Revenge match or some...
Revenge, also I don't want the team kill. And my TvT is my worst matchup.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Congratulations on surviving in the tournament. Hopefully see you in that decider match doing very well, just as you did. Let's load up the brackets one last time here as we prepare ourselves for the winners match. I know a lot of you Australians still awake back at home, ready to watch this one as your boy Iagers takes on Firecake to decide if he will move on in first place. Firecake has been continuing to do well in WCS and we'll be looking to repeat that once again here in Cologne, Germany again. So we'll see which way this is going to go. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
I move objects with